I just reviewed the training and physiology behind Jeannie Rice, a 77-year-old runner who is still breaking world records. I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist, run coach. In this video, I'm going to walk you through why she's still running fast at 77 years old and how you can use the same principles to keep running strong into your 50s, 60s, and 70s without constantly getting injured or feeling like your best days are behind you. Jeannie Rice ran a 3:33 marathon, owns age group world records from the 1500 meter to the marathon, and has shown incredible aerobic fitness for a runner in her late 70s. And there she goes, running strong, confident. And the problem, a lot of older runners face. Most runners think that aging automatically means you have to get slower. They start believing that knee pain, hip pain, and stiffness are just normal, part of aging. Many stop doing speed work because they're afraid of injury. And others train like they're still 25 and end up breaking down. The real problem is not age. It's losing capacity, strength, and consistency. Right. Many runners just don't realize that there's things you have to do outside of just running, right? They just want to run alone and they neglect other parts of what makes you healthy and fit and be able to run for years, right? For the next decade versus just training to run one race. If you want to copy this Google Doc and you want to learn more on how to run pain-free after 40, I'm sharing inside my free running pain-free school group community, a link in the description to join. So the steps to, be able to run well into your 70s, right? You want to build up your aerobic engine. Jeannie Rice's biggest advantage is her incredible aerobic fitness, right? She has a high VO2 max, volume of oxygen consumption, right? You can see how that's typically built up, at least a lower resting heart rate, increased heart rate variability, all right? Increased stroke volume and cardiac output, increased left ventricle and diastolic volume. So essentially, her pump is more efficient, able to pump more blood flow, increase the oxygen consumed. This also includes the lungs too, the heart and lungs, in terms of ability to consume oxygen and have a greater volume of oxygen for maximal output. Right. Her VO2 max shows that older runners can still maintain serious cardiovascular capacity. You don't need elite mileage necessarily, but you do need to be consistent with your aerobic training. This is where, your steady state training, that zone 2 training, but it doesn't always have to be running. It could be cross training, it could be biking, it could be swimming, right? You could think of like how triathletes train. For Jeannie Rice, obviously she did lots of running, easy runs, long runs, tempo work to preserve her cardiovascular engine, right? The heart and lungs, the engine. The goal is not to train harder every day, though. It's to train consistently for years. Again, sometimes people just train, they go all in for that marathon, for that one training block, 16 weeks. Then they disappear for the rest of the year. And then they wonder why they're not able to really improve year after year if they're only really training 16 weeks out of the whole year, right? And that's a big recipe I see, one for injury and also inconsistency with the training. Stop the injury cycle, step 2, right? Jeannie Rice has stayed remarkably consistent for decades, and that might be her real superpower. Most runners lose fitness because they keep getting hurt and starting over, right? They get stuck in this boom-bust injury cycle. Every marathon build or every race block build, when they're training for a race, they end up getting hurt. And this injury layoff costs you momentum, confidence, conditioning. You lose fitness when you're injured. But staying injury-free is not separate from performance. It is the foundation of performance, because if you can stay injury-free, then you could train more consistently and not have to be sidelined every couple of months. Right. So that's why doing things to prehab, right? This is essentially you're doing the preventative rehab before you get injured so you could enjoy the sport for longer, right? Well, you address whatever weak areas. So if you had a pre-existing weak area or injured area, let's say, your knee always kind of gives out on you, do the prehab before your knee becomes a problem to keep your knee healthy and strong. That way you can enjoy running and whatever the body part may be. Step 3, keep easy days easy. Jeannie Rice keeps her easy days easy and avoids racing every workout. This is where many older runners mess up. They run easy days too fast, long runs too hard, and sometimes they do their workouts way too aggressively. They take every workout to the red zone. You need hard days, but you also need true recovery days. And sometimes recovery days is where you don't do any running at all. Right. People can have different, you disagree with me. I understand some people like to run, 5 or 6 days a week. I think that is possible. However, for most injury-prone runners, I actually recommend just 3 runs per week and then having 2 days where you cross-train and just take a break from running, right? Where you could do some low-impact activities that gives your legs a break from running, because running is actually high impact. Every time your foot hits the ground, it's about 2 or 3 times the body weight of joint reaction forces every time your foot hits the ground. So you do need some recovery days from running. And if you want to run for decades, being disciplined with your effort, whether you like to train more days of the week, or you're going to follow my approach of 3 runs per week, you still need to be disciplined in how your efforts, your intensity, right? The discipline with the intensity matters, because if you run hard all the time, your body's going to break down. You need a balance of both easy and hard days. Step 4, keep speed in the program. Getting older does not mean you should slow down or jog forever. Speed work helps preserve your VO2 max, power, coordination, and running confidence. The key is using the right dose. Start with strides, hill sprints, fartlek, or controlled intervals. You want enough intensity to adapt, but not so much that your Achilles and your hip flares up. Typically, this is considered like a quality run workout, whether it's an interval workout or a tempo, at least once a week or even twice a week. If you're more of a beginner, I say start with just run, walk 3 times a week. And then as you get fitter, you could just do one quality workout. So it might be one interval workout a week. Heck, you may even space out every 10 days, especially as you get older. You may have to do a 10-day cycle versus a weekly cycle. But regardless, just like if we're going to do the weekly cycle in the 7-day period, one speed workout day, whether it's intervals, fartlek, hills, what have you, then the other days could be an easy day and then a long run day. And then as you get fitter, you can do it at a second quality or speed day as well. And then still having your cross training, bike, walking, etc. But the speed type of workout is what's going to allow you to run fast. Because if you never train speed at all, then obviously you're not going to be able to tap into your fitness to go faster, right? You're just going to stay slow. This is where folks say, "Oh, I don't get why I slowed down." Well, a lot of times because you just stopped training speed workouts. Step 5, strength training like an athletic runner. Running alone is not enough to stay durable as you age. Strength training helps protect your muscles, tendons, joints, and bone density. Focus on squats, deadlifts, split squats, calf raises, step ups, and core work, and even upper body work as well. That's also important. You want to essentially train the full body. Add power gradually with hops, bounds, explosive drills, jump squats, drop jumps, speed squats, speed deadlifts, power cleans. However, the goal is to do it safely and progressively. Don't jump to the heaviest weight you can do. Build yourself up, right? If you're a complete beginner, you can start with body weight, and then you can start adding the weights over time. Maybe start with some light weights, but then you start going more moderate or even heavy weights as you get stronger. The goal is not to be like a bodybuilder. It's just to make running feel easier, be durable, and strength training doesn't have to consume your whole life. It'd just be two strength workouts a week, or even a third one if you like. But at least two times a week, you're doing some strength training, a combination of heavy lifting and explosive. And if you're a complete beginner, you could start with very light weights and calisthenics body weight, and then progress from there. Or if you're dealing with injury, rehab your injury areas. If you're not sure what you're doing, work with someone who understands how to work with runners, a running physical therapist, to help you address those painful areas, to rebuild and get stronger. So you can see some of the benefits of strength training for runners, right? Improves maximal force, efficiency, lactate threshold, running economy, right? Some studies show as high as 8% improvement in efficiency, which running like in terms of 8% running economy improvements. Obviously improves your endurance performance. You set new PRs, and also your power. So you could also improve your sprint speed as well, your maximal speed as well. So both endurance and speed are improved. So what happens when you train this way? You stop seeing age as the reason you're falling apart. You build a body that can handle running instead of constantly reacting to pain. You maintain your aerobic engine instead of letting it decline as you get older. You become more durable, powerful, and confident. And you give yourself the best chance to run into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Because the thing I didn't mention is that after the age of 50, actually even around 30 or 40, you start getting something called sarcopenia, age-related muscle mass decline, right? So that's another reason why strength training is so important, to preserve that muscle mass, to hold on to it, or even try to build some new muscle mass if possible. Because after the age of 50, it really starts to decline, and that's where people start like, oh, I got so much weaker at 50 or 60, especially if you're not doing any strength training. But if you're doing strength training, you could offset that. It's one of the fountains of youth is doing quality strength training. So if you take like a really take-home message away from this, really do the strength training. Yes, running is important, but also pair it with strength training as well. Quality strength training, right? You have to progress and get stronger. You try to get better, even if it's 1% better. So I currently have 2 spots open to work with me. One-to-one inside the Athletic Runner Method to help runners over 40, 50s, and 60s get pain-free, run stronger. If you're curious, there's a link to apply in the description. First come, first serve. So lessons learned. Jeannie Rice proves you do not have to accept becoming slow and fragile with age. Her biggest lesson is not just VO2 max. It's decades of consistent training. She put in the work and stay consistent. The runners who last are the ones who avoid the boom-bust injury cycle. You still need speed, strength, proper recovery days, and smart programming. If you want to run into your 70s, don't just chase mileage. Build a body that can handle running for life. If you found this useful, hit that like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.